Okay, just keep that. Next heading, Mapreduce flowchart for word count job. Mapreduce flowchart for word count job. What we have seen in last class, I just shown you some trailer, right? And how to create a file. First point. Second step. First step is what? How to create a file. Second step, how to load that file into HDFS. Third step, how to write programs. Fourth step, how to compile them. Fifth step, how to create a jar file. Sixth step, how to run that. So once you are running that one, it will start working with mappers and reducers. And finally, it is giving you some output with some key comma value pairs, right? So how those key comma value pairs will be given? What we are doing exactly in this mapper and reducer? We have to know that internal architecture here. For that, we are discussing about Mapreduce flowchart, right? See this one. What is that file I have taken? Let us say hi Okay, so this is one file. Just say that this file name is file.txt. Its size is 200 MB. Its size is 200 MB. Fine. Now, once you are keeping this file into HDFS, so how many splits will be there for that file? How many blocks I need to have? What is your block size basically? 64 MB. So how many blocks I need to have for storing my data? 4 blocks, right? So I'm taking input file here. What is that file here? File.txt. Its size is 200 MB. Input split, input split, fourth input split, third input split, fourth input split. Okay, terminology is very important. So this file is going to be split into what number of input splits here. Fine. Let's say this input split is there in data node 1. This input split is there in data node 3, data node 5, data node 7. Right? So generally when we are taking multi-node cluster, all this file will be splitted and will be stored in what different data nodes, right? So now this input split, this 64 MB of input split will be there in data node 1, data node 2, data node 3, data node 5 and data node 7, right? This is up to storage. So for storing data, what are all the services we need to have? Name node, data node, right? So name node will keep metadata and data node will keep actual data here, right? Now I'm storing that data. Now I'm going to process this by writing some program. So how to process your data? What is that command that we are using? Hadoop space jar space. What is that jar file name we have created? wc.jar space, and we are giving some word count here. What is this word count? We have seen, right, in our sixth step, right? What is our file, input file, file.txt. What is our output directory? And we are giving wc output. This is what the command which we are running basically, right? Fine. So once you are running this command, automatically it is working with mapper and reducer. So how many mappers it is working with? Sure, 4 mappers it is working with, right? So there will be one mapper for one input split. Let me take down this. So when you are running program, it is running with 4 mappers. Okay, 4 mappers are there, right? Generally, observe here, very important, there will be one mapper for each and every input split. Mapper knows only one thing, that how to work with key comma value pairs. Mapper knows only one thing, that how to work with key comma value pairs. Means it should take key comma value pairs and it should work on those key comma value pairs. Again it should pass output key comma value pairs. You got it what I'm saying? Right. So what is this file size here? 200 MB. So how many splits will be there? 4. So what I'm doing is I'm saying that this is what first input split. I'm saying that this is second input split. I'm saying that this is third input split and fourth input split. So let's say this size is 64 MB, 64 MB, 64 MB, 8 MB. Okay, totally 4 input splits are there, right? Now what this input split is having? Text messages, right or wrong? It is having text messages, but but what this mapper is expecting? Key value pairs, right? You are having text messages, but your mapper is expecting key value pairs. How to generate key comma value pairs from this input split? Okay, and how to pass them to mapper as input key comma value pairs? What to do for that? For that sense, we have another interface here, that is actually what? Record reader. Record reader. One record reader is there. Record reader. Okay, so there will be one record reader for each and every input split and mapper. So what this record reader will exactly do? Very simple. Record reader will read one line at a time from its corresponding input split, and it is converting that line into key comma value pair. Okay, see this one. Record reader can read one line at a time from its corresponding input split, and it is converting that line into key comma value pair, and it is passing that key comma value pair to mapper as input key comma value pair. Again, same here also. So it is reading one line at a time, and it is converting that into key comma value pair, and it is passing that to mapper as input key comma value pair. Here also same process. Okay, you got it? So now you are getting what I'm saying here. Input split is having text messages, but your mapper is expecting key comma value pairs. Somebody should be there to read and to generate as what? Key comma value pairs, and to pass that mapper as input key comma value pairs. Who is that? Record reader. Very important question for interviews. What is record reader? What is its responsibility? Okay, record reader is an interface in between input split and mapper. There will be one record reader for each and every input split and every mapper. Record reader knows only one thing, that how to read one line at a time from its corresponding input split, and converting that line into key comma value pair, and passing that key comma value pair to mapper as input key comma value pair. Clear? Right. Sir, this is right. It is reading one line and it is converting that into key comma value pair. On what basis this record reader is converting those lines into key comma value pairs? On what basis your record reader is converting those lines into key comma value pairs? That will be depending on what? 4 formats of your files. 4 formats of your files. What those 4 formats are? See this one. First one, text input format file. text input format. Second one, key value text input format. Third one, sequence file input format. Fourth one, sequence file as text input format. Okay, so how many are there? Text input format, key value text input format, sequence file input format, sequence file as text input format. These are the 4 formats of your file. Means if a record reader should convert them into key value pairs, means this file should be either of those 4 formats. This file should be either of those 4 formats. Let's say, sir, I am not specifying either of these 4 formats. Then what will be the file format here? By default, it is what? Text input format file. By default, it is what? Text input format file. Don't get panic. Very easy things. These are all. Okay. Very simple ones. So, by default, what it is? Text input format file. Suppose if it is text input format file, what is your input key and what is your input value for your mapper by reading that line? Okay, so observe here you have several interview questions. First one, let us say if you are keeping like 2 years or 3 years of experience, once you are getting call from any company, first they will ask you that for how long you are working with this Hadoop. You are saying that, sir, I have been working for the last 1 year or 1.5 years. Okay, their immediate next question will be, what are all the file formats you have worked for this Hadoop for long back? Getting what I'm saying? So you should not stuck up with that. Okay, so you please let them know about these 2 file formats. Don't go for this. Better you can say about what? These 2 file formats. Text input format file, key value text input format file. Sir, I have worked on text input format file and I have worked on key value text input format file. Their immediate question will be, what is default file format? Text input format file. Okay, if it is text input format file, what is your input key and input value for your mapper? Who will convert that into key value pair? Record reader will convert that into key value pair. Right. So record reader will convert them into key value pairs. But on what basis it is converting them into key value pairs? Depending on either of your 4 formats. Let's say if it is by default text input format file, it is reading that first line and it is converting that line into key value pair as byte offset comma entire line, byte offset comma entire line. Okay, byte offset comma entire line. So what is byte offset and what is entire line here? You getting my point? So your record reader is reading 1 line at a time, and at the time of converting that line into key value pair, it is checking which file format it is. Let's say if I am not specifying either of these file formats, by default it is considering it as what? Text input format file. If it is text input format file, now your key and value pair will be what? Byte offset comma entire line. What is byte offset here? Address of the line. What is entire line? Line which is read by that record reader. What is that line here? First line, hi, how are you? Right or wrong? Hi, how are you? Right. So for this it is giving some byte offset as 0 comma hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Sir, why it is taking 0 only? Okay, byte offset is nothing but counting number of characters of its previous lines. How many characters are there in this? Do you have any line before this? You don't have. Means number of characters will be what? 0. Right? So it is giving 0 here. So it is giving what? Hi, how are you? Fine. Let's say now this key value pair will be given for this mapper. Meanwhile it is moving back and it is reading second line, and it is converting that line into key value pair. So what is that key value pair again? Never. It's not 1. Number of characters of its previous line. Now which line it is reading? Second line. So how many characters are there in its previous line? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Right or wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, okay, 12, 13, backslash n, 14. How many characters are there? How many are there? Sorry. 1 second. So here it will give 15, right? Right. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So how many characters are there totally? If it is not considering backslash and it won't move for second line, right? So total 15 characters are there. So it is taking 15 for what? Next key comma value pair. And what is that line here? How is your job? How is your job? You got it? So generally we should not call them as lines. We have to call them as records. The one which is reading one record at a time can be called as record reader. The one which is calling one record at a time from its corresponding input split can be called as what? Record reader. Right. Now another question here. How many number of mappers you are working with for your job? That depends on what? Your file size. That depends on number of input splits. Okay. How many times each mapper is running internally? Two questions will be there. How many number of mappers you are working with and how many times each mapper is working? Okay, very simple. So how many number of lines are there in your input split? Those many number of times your mapper will be executed. Why this is so? Your mapper can take one key comma value pair at a time. Your mapper can take one key comma value pair at a time. And moreover to that, your record can read one line only at a time and it can generate one key comma value pair at a time and it is passing one key comma value pair at a time to this mapper. Okay, so how many lines are there in this? 3. So first it is reading first line, converting that line into key comma value pair, passing that key comma value pair to mapper. Again it is moving back and again it is reading second line, again it is passing that key comma value pair to mapper. So how many times this is going to be executed? For 3 times. Right or wrong? For 3 times it is going to be executed. So how many key comma value pairs that you are going to get from this mapper? That depends on. Okay, fine. Next. Now at the how this record reader is reading one line at a time. At the same time, this record reader also will start reading first line from its corresponding input split, right? So what is that line here? What is Hadoop, right? What is that key comma value pair that it is passing here? Never. It's not 0. Number of characters of its previous line. Even though it is a separate input split also, it is definitely considering how many number of characters are there in its previous input split. So how many characters are there in this? Can somebody count that? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. So how many characters are there in that? 50 characters are there along with backslashes. Now what is that character here? 51. So 51 will be taken for that. Next, record readers. Okay, byte offset. What is Hadoop? But it won't be like 0. Very important question it is. They will say that Ram, I am giving, let's say I am giving what? 3 lines in first input split. Okay, in second input split I am giving 2 lines only. So how many times that first mapper will be executed? 3 times. How many times this second mapper will be executed? 2 times, right? What is that first key comma value pair byte offset value here for this first key comma value pair? 0. What is that first key comma value pair for this second record reader? That depends on number of characters of its previous lines, because this is all belonging to single line, right? Single file, right? This is all belonging to single file. So obviously when you are going to pick up this line, it is counting number of characters of its previous lines. There is no doubt about it. Okay, if you want, I'll show you this one practically. Right, means this is also what? Byte offset comma enter line only. This is also byte offset comma enter line. Byte offset comma enter line. Clear? Right. Now this is giving one key comma value pair, that is what 0 comma hi, how are you? Now your mapper should start working on this key comma value pair. So what is this key and what is this value here? What is this key and what is this value here? Very good. So key must be unique. There is no doubt about it. It must be. It will be unique only, because byte offset will be what? Different for each and every line here, right? Next. Value. Yes, maybe value may be duplicate, may not be duplicate, right? Apart from all these things, key must be object type, value must be object type, right or wrong? We have discussed in Java, right? So every key and value must be object type. But what object types those are all? Okay, generally in Java, what are all the object types that we are working with for collection framework and for map? Integer is there, float is there, double is there, character is there, okay, string is there, byte is there, short is there. These are all what? Wrapper classes. Those we are calling it as what? Objective types. But in Hadoop, these are all what? Where we are working with this? In Hadoop, right? In Hadoop. For that, what we are doing is, how you are having primitive types and their corresponding wrapper classes in your Java. So in the same way, Hadoop also has given its own box classes for designing their key comma value pairs. Clear? Observe here now. So I'm taking right wrapper classes here. I'm taking wrapper classes. I'm taking primitive types. Primitive types. So for int, okay, for int, integer, right? Next for float, float, right? Capital F. For double, what is that? Double. Next for string, for string, for long, for long, okay, for long it is what it is? Long. Okay, so int, integer, float, float, double, double, string, string, long, long. But these are all what? Capital letters. So what we are calling them as? Wrapper classes. So for classes only you can create objects, right? So that we are calling them as objective types, right? So where we are having all these things? In Java, right? In the same way, you have same primitive types here, but in Hadoop it has given its own box classes. We are calling them as what? Box classes. So what are all these? For int, writable. For float, what is that? Float, writable. For double, what is that? For string, what is that? Text, not string writable. For long, long, writable. Okay, for long, what is that? Long writable. Okay, fine. Just observe here. Suppose these are all where we are having all these things in Hadoop, right? So suppose if I wanted to convert int type to integer type, what we have to do? You have to generally you don't need to worry about what? Converting this int type into integer type into int type, because we have auto boxing, auto unboxing support. Auto boxing, auto unboxing support. So by using auto boxing we can convert this int type to writable type. By using auto unboxing we can convert this into int type, integer type to int type, right? So there you don't need to worry about what? Conversions here in Java, because Java has been introduced long back, almost 17 to 18 years back. So there is no problem with that, because with different versions they have given different things. But here Hadoop has been just introduced, 3 years back only, right? So what we have to do? How to convert this int type into writable type? How to convert this float type to float writable type? Or else how to convert this integer type writable type to int type? Okay, so if you wanted to convert int type to int writable type, you have to give new int writable of int. If you wanted to convert int writable type to int type, you have to use get method. So if you wanted to convert int type to int writable type, you have to use new int writable of int. Next, if you wanted to convert int writable type to int type, get. Okay, fine. Next, if I wanted to convert float type to float writable type, new float writable of float. If I wanted to convert float writable type to float type, what is that? Right. If I wanted to convert double type to double writable type, new double writable of double. If I wanted to convert double writable type to double type, if I wanted to convert long type to long writable type, new long writable of. If I wanted to convert long writable type to long type, if I wanted to convert string type to text type, new text of string. If I wanted to convert text type to string type, no, toString method. toString is there. Because if you wanted to convert something into string type, definitely you have to work with toString method. Okay. So if I wanted to convert string type into text type, I have to use new text of. Next, if I wanted to convert text type to string type, I have to use toString method. Okay, so these are the conversions. If you are not aware of either of these conversions, there is no way of writing programs in your Mapreduce with Java. No doubt about it. Okay, just note down them properly. Okay, fine. Now out of these all box classes, which class is better for taking this key type and which class is better for taking value type? Out of all these box classes, what I'm saying you is key and value both should be object to type. So how you are having wrapper classes to specify your key value pairs in your collection framework map, okay, as with what wrapper classes in your Java, here also Hadoop has given its own box classes. So you must specify this key and value pair with what? Either of those box classes only. So which class is better to take? Which class is feasible to take key? Which class is feasible to take value? Come on. For key. For key, what it is? Writable. Writable is enough. Means what? Your key will be depending on what number of characters of your previous lines. Let's say Hadoop is not there for working with small data sets. Hadoop is there for working with what? Huge data sets. When you are working with huge data sets, let's say I am taking what 500 GB of file. For 500 GB of file, how many characters will be there? More number of characters will be there. It may be in what more than billions of crores of characters will be there. Suppose sometimes. So can we store that value in writable here? Then what we have to take? Which one is better to take? Long writable, better to take, right? So now what it is? Long writable, comma. Next, which one is better to take for this? Text, not string, text it is. Okay, text. So when this key value pair will be given? When this type of key value pair will be given? When your file is what? Text input format file. Right or wrong? So by default what it is? Text input format file. If your file format is what? Text input format file, it will give you key value pairs as byte offset enter line. So if it is text input format file, that key type is what? Long writable, that value type is what? Text. Mandatory it is. There is no doubt about it. It is fixed. Long writable and text only. No doubt about it. Clear up to this? Any other doubt? No, right? Fine. Next. Okay, now you please check this one now. Right. Now your mapper will start working on this key value pairs. Once this record reader is passing key value pair. What is that first key value pair here? What is that first key value pair here? 0, hi, how are you? Right or wrong? So now I am giving 0, hi, how are you for this mapper. So what is our job here basically? Counting number of occurrences of words. Right or wrong? Counting number of occurrences of words. Right. Now if I wanted to count how many times hi is available, how many times how is available, are and you are available, what I have to do? First I have to split them. First I have to split each and every word. Right or wrong? So I am splitting each and every key each and every word here and I'm passing some output as what? Hi comma 1. Hi comma 1. Okay, means what? Output should also be what? Key comma value pair only again. So here our job is what? Word count. As we are working with word count job, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to split each and every word here and I'm passing 1 as what? Value. So why we are passing 1 only as value, we will see. Okay, next. Hi comma 1. Next. 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 Again it is moving back and it is reading second line. So meanwhile this also will be started, right? What is that first line here? Yes, what comma 1, right or wrong? Because we are writing only one mapper code, but that mapper will be given for what? 4 input splits here. Means what? Same logic we are writing in this mapper, right? So same logic will even be applied here. Next. Next. Okay, Hadoop comma. Next. Here. Next. 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 What is it? Next. Here. Next. 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 Hadoop with comma 1. Next. Right. Okay, fine. Next, what is that second line here? How? No, how comma 1 only. For each and every key is different, right? For that second key, again it is started working with that. So it won't consider its previous key. For each and every line, it is working only for one time, right? So what is that line here? How is your job, right? So how comma 1, next is comma 1, next your comma 1, next job comma 1, next line there itself. How comma 1, next is comma 1, next here, next here, right? That's all. So this is what the output which we are getting. Generally, what is this output? We are calling it as data, right? We have already seen when your task tracker started working on its local data nodes a.txt12, b.txt12, c and d.txt12. So what we are saying it as mappers. So once after giving all those mappers, once after getting out from all those mappers, where your output will be stored in its corresponding local data node itself. In which data node this mapper is working? Data node 1. So where this output will be stored? In data node 1 only, right? This output will be stored in data node 3, data node 5, data node 7. So once all your mappers are going to be finished, now reducer will start working on this, right? Now reducer will come into picture here. Now reducer will come into picture here, right? Once your reducer started, so what this reducer will do? It will merge all your output, merging or combining all your outputs from all your mappers. Means it is not copying and pasting, it is moving that data. It is pulling all its data from all your data nodes of your mappers, right? So all this data will be combined by your reducer. All your outputs will be combined by your reducer. So what we are calling it as? What we are calling it as? What is that?
Intermediate data.
Yes, intermediate data. So this is all actually what? Intermediate data. Intermediate data. Okay. So why we are calling this is an intermediate data? Data which is being generated in between mapper and reducer can be called as what? Intermediate data. right? So once your data is going to be given, now if we can see, plenty of key come value pairs are there, but plenty of keys are what? Duplicate keys here. Right or wrong? Can we have duplicate keys? No, you should not have duplicate keys. Means you need to have what? Unique keys. For having that, two phases will be working on this intermediate data. Those two phases are what? Shuffling and sorting. Two phases will be done on this. One is what? Shuffling, another one is what? Sorting. Clear? Right. What this shuffling phase will do? What this shuffling phase will do? Shuffling is a phase which is on intermediate data to combine all values associated to same key. To combine plenty of all values associated to same key. Let us say, for example, how is there, right? Let me take one small example. How is there, right? How many times it is available? 1, 2, 3, next 4, 5, anywhere else 5 times it is there. Because of course these are all what? Individual mappers, but all these mappers output are belonging to same input file. Right or wrong? So once your reducer is going to combine all your mapper output key comma value pairs, now it is done with what? It is being done with shuffling and sorting, right? So where this shuffling and sorting, all these things will be done. Let's say my data node is there in data node, sorry, my reducer is there in data node 8. So where this shuffling and sorting, all these things will be done in data node 8 only, right? So once it is receiving all your key comma value pairs, it is performing shuffling and sorting. So because of shuffling, what will happen? It is taking, let's say, how is there, right? How is there, right? Next, what is its value? 1. What is its value? Its value here also 1. So how many it is there? Here also what? 1. So plenty of values are there for key how. What are all those? 1 comma 1 comma 1 comma 1. 5 ones are there. So this is what shuffling phase is. Okay, shuffling is a phase which is being done, which is occurring, which is done on intermediate data for combining plenty of values to associated to same key. Okay, shuffling is a phase to combine all your values associated to same key. Okay, associated to same key. Now once after being done all these things, likewise, are we going to have any duplicate key here? Not only for it is even working with what? All other key comma value pairs also. So are we going to get any duplicate key comma value pair here? No, never. Next, so once you are doing with all these things, again sorting will come into picture. What this sorting will do? I was telling you, keys are homogeneous, one key can compare with other key. What all these keys are? Can somebody say what is this map output key type and map output value type here? Key output key type, map output key type, map output value type. Text value. One means int writable. I need not to go for long writable, right? It can be happily taken as what? Int writable. So what I am doing is, here map output key is what? Text type, and map output value is what? Right. Okay. So what is this one here? Int writable. What is this one here? Int writable. Means I am combining plenty of int writables here. Right. Next, what are all these? All keys are what? Text types only, right? All these are what? Text types. Means what? Homogeneous keys. So as you are taking homogeneous keys, one key can compare with other keys to decide their sorting order. So automatically sorting also will be done. Can somebody say what is that key which we are getting? What is that key and value pair which we are getting as first key come value pair after sorting from this file? What is that word we are getting as a first key come value pair? What is that first key come value pair? What is that first word that we are getting as a first key come value pair? Huh? R. Because it's what it is starting with? A. Yes, ASCII value is what? 97. So it is less than that all other remaining characters here. So that R will be given as first key comma value pair. Right or wrong? Fine. Now, so your shuffling and sorting both will be done on what? Intermediate data, and then your reducer will start working on those intermediate shuffling and sorting comma value pairs. Right. So how many times that R is available here? 1, 2 times means it is giving r comma 1 comma 1, r comma 1 comma 1, right or wrong? So this will be was first key comma value pair for your reducer. Let's say suppose after shuffling and sorting I am getting 15 key comma value pairs. After shuffling and sorting I am getting 15 key comma value pairs. Is this reducer is taking 15 key comma value pairs at a time, or is it taking 1 key comma value pair at a time? No. Reducer can work with only 1 key comma value pair at a time. What is that key comma value pair also? The one which is first key comma value pair after sorting. Okay, so it is taking 1 key comma value pair at a time. What is that first key comma value pair? R comma 1 comma 1. So what is this reducer now? What it is doing? It is retrieving each and every value here and it is making sum, so that it is passing what? R comma 2. Right or wrong? How many ones are there in this? 5 ones. What we have to get as an output? How comma and its count. What is its count? 5. So your reducer will start retrieving all these values here and it is making sum here 5 and it is giving output as what? How comma 5 as ultimate output. So where we are going to retrieve all these values here and where we have to make sum of those values here in reducer. Reducer will take that responsibility here. That logic we have to implement in that. Okay, one more thing. What is this one here? What is that one type? Iterable. What is this one type? This one? This one? All these are what? Iterables. Iterable means objective type. Grouping individual objects into a single entity. What we are calling it as? Collection. Right or wrong? Now it is a collection type, right? Collection type. So how to retrieve values from collection? Yes, very good. By using cursors. We have already discussed. What are all the cursors? Iterator is there, list iterator is there, enumeration is there. Out of all those cursors, which cursor is better to use? Iterator, because it's an universal cursor. So we are working with iterator in this reducer. If there is no iterator, there is no shuffling and there is no sorting. Okay, so that shuffling and sorting both will be done because of iterator only. So now we are going to have iterator in this. Now we are using two methods, has next method and what next method, to check and retrieve those values. So once after retrieving each and every value, we'll make sum, we'll pass that output as what? We'll pass that sum as what? Ultimate output key comma value pair. Right. Once after receiving output key comma value pair from this record reader, from this reducer, this output will be written back to some other interface, that is what? Record writer, and it is giving that output directly to what? Output file. Output file. Clear? So next, again it is moving back. Sorry, here it is having what? Recycling process. Here it is moving again back, and it is getting second key comma value pair, and it is passing that key comma value pair to output file. Again it is moving back, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. How many key comma value pairs are? 15. So how many times your reducer will be executed? For 15 times. How many times your record writer will be executed? 15 times. How many key comma value pairs will be given for this? 15 key comma value pairs. This is what? Total. Likewise you are getting what? Key comma value pairs here. That what we have seen in last class. You got clear idea on this? Okay. Next, one more thing. Right. What if it is key value text input format file? Up to now what we have seen is what? Text input format file. What if it is key value text input format file? Okay. At what situation you have to go for what? Key value text input format file. Okay. Very simple example. Let me tell you this one. Suppose I have some small example like 1 second. Suppose city is there, Hyderabad. City is there, Hyderabad, and I am selling some goods. Let's say I am selling grapes here. Grapes. Okay. Okay. Grapes, and its cost is like 60 rupees per kg. Okay. Next, another city, Mumbai, and I am taking grapes here also, and I am taking some 70 rupees, because this is market, right? In market every day prices will be differentiated, right? Next I am taking Hyderabad again, and I am taking some apples. So its kg will be like 150 rupees. Next I am taking Chennai. Here also I am taking what? Grapes. Okay, I am taking some 80 rupees. So what is that separator here? If you can see, what is that separator here? What is that? So here thing is, I have to get average price for all goods which we are selling in Hyderabad. Getting my point? I have to get average price for all goods which we are selling in Hyderabad. Means how many goods are there? Grapes is there, apples are there. This is actually what? 60 rupees. This is actually what? 150 rupees. Means what I have to get as an output, ultimate output, I have to get city and prices, average prices. I don't need to worry about what these goods. Right? I have to get city, I have to get average price. Right? So how to work on this file? Which file format is better to go with? Obviously, because wherever you are finding tab separators, blindly please remember this one. Tab separators, better you can take it as what? Key value text input format file. Let's say if it is text input format file, what is your key and value pair for your lines? So these are also what? Lines only, right? So your record reader can start reading this first line, right or wrong? Can start reading this first line. So once after reading this line, before converting this line into key value pair, it is considering which file format it is. Yes, it is understanding that it is what? Key value text input format file. Where we have to specify that? In driver code you have to specify that one. You have to explicitly give some instruction to that record reader that I am taking my file format as what? Key value text input format file. Otherwise it is by default considering it as what? Text input format file. Let's say if it is text input format file, what is your key and value pair for first line? 0, what is that? 0, HYD, tab space, grapes, tab space, 60. This will be given as what? Key value pair. When it is? If it is text input format file. Let's say if it is key value text input format file, then that time also it is reading what? One line at a time. Wherever it is finding first tab separator in that line. You can have any number of tab separators, but wherever it is finding first tab separator, before that whatever you are having, that would be taken as key. After that whatever you are maybe having, that would be taken as value. It is fixed. Okay, sir, when you are taking key value text input format file, you are saying that this is what? Long writable, this is what? Text. It is fixed. It is what? Long writable, this is what? Text. Now if it is key value text input format file, you are saying that before first tab separator whatever you are having, that would be taken as key. After that first tab separator whatever you are having, that would be taken as value. So what is this key type? What is this value type? Text and text only. This is text. This is also what? Text. Blindly you please remember that. It is fixed. You may be having numbers, you may be having cities, you may be having something else. Whatever you may be having, even though you are having numbers, you should not consider it as what? Int writable or float writable or long writable. You have to definitely consider it as what? Text only. There is no doubt about it. Just two file formats only are there. Nothing else is there. Very, very important. Okay, their questions will be something like this. What is default file format? Text input format file. If it is text input format file, what is your key type? What is your value type? Key type is what? Long writable. Value type is what? Text. Blindly you please remember that. Okay. They will ask you sometimes, what is byte offset? What is enter line? Byte offset means what? Number of characters of its previous lines. And enter line means what? The line which is read by that record reader. Next. Okay. If it is key value text input format file, what is your key and what is your value type? It is reading one line at a time. Wherever it is finding first tab separator, before that whatever you are having, that would be taken as key. After that whatever you are having would be taken as value. But both key and value pair types are what? Text and text only by default. It is fixed. Okay. So how to, then the question will be something like this again. How to, if I wanted to specify this one as key value text input format file, how to specify that in my driver code? That will be what? Another interview question that we will see when we are discussing about programs, that you don't need to worry about now. Next, what if it is sequence file input format? When we have to work with that sequence file input format? Let's say when you are working with any images, any videos, so data will be encrypted. Generally when you are keeping those images are what, videos into HDFS. Those will be taken as what, encrypted data. That for that data we are working with this sequence file input format. When you are working with, if I am considering this file format as what, sequence file input format, your keys and values will be like zeros and ones. You need not worry of that. Internally it is taking those key comma value pairs here. Next, if it is sequence file as text input format file, both will be taken as what, zeros and ones only, but those will be taken into string type, sorry, text type. Those will be considered as what, text and text type. Okay, so that we will see later, but you don't need to worry. So this is what basic flowchart of your Mapreduce. Okay, yeah, flowchart for this word count job. Not only for word count, it can be like anything, but for as a brief example I have just given you for word count. And one more thing, sometimes they will blindly ask you that what is word count job, what is your hello world job, what is word count job, what are all the key and value pairs that you are taking in your word count job, what is your input key comma value pair for your word count job, long writable text, what is your mapper output key comma value pair for your word count job, text comma int writable. Okay, saying here is not at all working out, but you have to remember that, you have to remember that forever. Okay, next, what is that input key comma value pair for this reducer, text comma int writable only, because all these key comma value pairs will be passed to this reducer as input key comma value pairs. Once after passing them, it is working with what, shuffling and sorting. What is shuffling here? What is shuffling here? Shuffling is an extra phase which is done on intermediate data, okay, which will combine all your values associated to same key to not have duplicate keys here. Next, what is sorting here? Sorting is what, another phase which is sorting number of key comma value pairs here. Okay, if keys are homogeneous, automatically sorting also will be done. Next, who is writing program for this record reader? Are we writing this record reader program, or is it by default will be working out? By default this record reader will come into picture. Who is writing logic for this shuffling and sorting? We are not writing. This is also will be done by default when we are writing our own reducer. When we are writing our own reducer, this shuffling and sorting both will be done. Let's say if I am not taking my own reducer, one more default reducer will be there, that we will see later. Default reducer will work with only sorting but not with shuffling. There, even though you are having duplicate keys also, those keys will be sorted automatically. Okay, so this is what Mapreduce flowchart for your word count job. That's all. Any other doubt up to this? Any other doubt? Key value text input format file. If it is key value text input format file, just take this file over there, just keep round mark on this, by giving tab separation here, \t, take it as what, text, take it as text. If it is key, when you have to go for this key value text input format file, wherever you are finding any tab separation in your file, they are giving you data set, right? They will give you data set and they will give you their requirement. Let's say I am your client, I am giving you this data set. Now I am asking you that you have to get cities and their average price for each and every good. That what we are selling in this Hyderabad. Means I am saying that I am giving you file and I am giving you final output also, reducer output also. So now you have to consider which file format is better to approach your requirement. So if you are finding any tab spaces here, tab space means what, 5 characters. If you are finding any tab space here, then you can happily consider it as what, key value text input format file. Sir, I can consider it as what, key value text input format file, but it is difficult to approach your requirement. So I can work with this text input format file very easily. Then you need to go for key value text input format file. You can happily work with text input format file only. There is no problem. Can I work with text input format, key value text input format file for this file? No or yes? Yes, I can happily. But better you can go for what, text input format file. Let us say if I am taking this file format as what, key value text input format file, what is your key and what is your value? Sometimes they will ask you that also. Let us say if my file is this one, what is your key value pair if it is key value text input format file? Where you are having that first tab separator? Do you have any tab separator over there? Only spaces are there. So just spaces are there, right? So if you are taking this file as what, key value text input format file, this \n will be considered as what? \t. And wherever you are having first tab separator, whatever you are having before that will be considered as what? Key. What is that key type? Text type. After that, whatever you are having, that would be taken as what? Value. That is also what? Text type. But what it is? Empty, null. Got it? So this will be what? Your key comma value pair here. Clear? If you are considering it as what? Text input format file 0 comma Hyderabad grapes 60 will be given as what? Key comma value pair. Clear up to this? Okay. Thank you.